Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey, and we're going to look at the weekly transit. The transit field, the planets which are moving around and giving us our background frequency, which is practically moving the world around us. It's fun to watch, and it's good to be prepared what is in the air, so you know where you have some additional conditioning forces which may be moving you away from your center. But of course, if you follow your strategy and authority, at the end, everything's fine. Let's see what is in the air today. And basically, the sun entered the 37th gate, so 3 days ago. So this energy on Friday, and this energy will be here till I think the 2nd of March. Yes. So the sun moved to the 37th gate and the earth to the 40th gate, and together they pardon me. Okay. A little bit more. Yeah. So here we are. Actually, the sun and earth just moved to the 4th line. This is what happened just a second ago. But let's see actually what it brings us. The 3740, because as you see, they are all also harmonic gates, and here the 37th, and they're also oppositions in the wheel mandala. So what this tells us is that on one hand, the friendship and the family and being together, looking for a part looking for a whole. This is what this channel is about. So we have the family, the gate of friendship, and the gate of aloneness, and they go together, and they're practically the opposites and the two sides of the same coin at the same time. And they're harmonic gates. They're on the two sides of the ego center and the emotional center. So we have the channel of community, a design of a part seeking the whole. And ready, when is it ready? It's the 40th gate is the gate of aloneness. When is it ready to give up the whole and being apart for its own independent aloneness, where it is deciding what it wants and what it doesn't. So we had several days ago on Sunday, last Friday, actually at 5:29 p.m. until Saturday, we were in the first line, the mother-father, a position of inherent respect that ensures a focus for the development of guidelines. And in the exaltation harmony is the key to the successful maintenance of relationships. It is only through harmony that the beauty and the values of the family can endure. Friendship that is rooted in sensitivity and ensures harmony. That's the first line of the 37th gate. The family, the gate of friendship. And it moved then to the second line, responsibility. So first line is investigative in nature, introspective, the mother and father being authoritative as well. Then we have the second line, it's responsibility, the understanding of the principle of individual responsibility as the foundation for successful cooperation, the possibility of friendship through individual responsibility, and the other side, a tendency to point out the responsibility of others, the possibility that friendship will lead to pointing out the responsibility of the responsibilities of others. And here we have the natural second line, the hermit as well. Then yesterday was the third line, even-handedness. The success of any group is dependent on maintaining order, the availability to judge what behavior is appropriate and to reach in a balanced manner to transgressions, the possibility to have the sensitivity to know what behavior is appropriate in a relationship. And the other side, an ironic tendency to either test incessantly the borders of acceptability or to respond to the very same tendency in others with severity. The possible lack of sensitivity to what behavior is appropriate. So on one hand, yesterday we could have been around us seeing behavior of sensitivity or lack of sensitivity to the behavior of the other in a relationship. And today, the energy changed to the leadership by example, the fourth line. Any member of the family may take on a leading role through exemplary behavior. On one side, we have the manifestation of the highest principles in everyday and practical affairs, and the possibility of the highest principles in all relationships, resulting in a leadership role, or a conservatism that generally only accepts the leadership of the father, who may or may not be a valued role model, and the possibility of being insensitive to the leadership of anyone other than those accepted by tradition. So if today people do things which are not according to tradition, or they're not the traditional leader, today there is quite a possibility that people are insensitive to them and don't accept them as leaders, or that the manifestation of the highest principles will be available for everybody. We have here a very tribal gate, emotional as well. It's in the emotional center, and it's connected to touch, handshakes, and deals we have here. So today we're in the fourth line, and tomorrow we're going to be in the fifth line called love, natural and unaffected devotion to the family. On one side, natural harmony and perfected sharing, natural harmony and sharing possible through friendship, and the other side, emotional dependency that often turns love into hatred, the possibility of dependency turning love into hate. A lot of projection on that, interpreting the friendship and the family either with love or with hate. If you don't do that, I don't love you anymore. There is a deal always here. So the themes of the family and the friendship and the deals and the deal breakers are in the air, and people might be prone to give different promises and to be on the emotional elevator, going up and down in their moods, being moody, and for instance, if they're up in the wave, giving lots of promises for things that are going to be done, and then later it will be difficult, or down in the wave and not wanting to engage with things which might be afterwards valuable, not knowing what valuable is, or over exaggerating the price or the value of things. So be aware, especially if you have an open emotional center, solar plexus, or an open ego, or an open throat, because it will be very easy for you to turn words into actions, having the idea and the feeling that you have the will to do things and wanting to be spontaneous. And this is a manifestor channel, so it's very easy to initiate stuff. So be aware, especially if you don't have a direct connection. We have here two motors, the willpower and the emotional motor, connected all to the throat, which gives us quite an explosive energy. And if we look also at the other sides, we have the fates, the revolution, and the crisis. So all of these can turn quite explosive. Then in 2 days, we have in the sixth line purpose, the sun, the energy to maintain the family is enhanced by recognizing its values. The gift of not only recognizing the inner meaning of the family, but an appreciation for its values. The possibility of extending friendships through the appreciation of its value. And the other side, a need for diversity that may ignore the achievements of the family in favor of withdrawal. The need for diversity that, despite appreciation, will prefer casual friendships. So on one hand, withdrawing from the family and valuing just casual friendships, and withdrawing from the family, or on the other hand, the possibility of extending friendships through appreciation of its values and as well as the meaning of the family. But the sixth line might not engage at all. So the family principle, being a whole, seeking a part, seeking a whole, a part seeking its way to become whole. And how far is it ready to go with the deal? Because the 40th gate is aloneness. So those people, something practical for people with the 40th gate is always to decide upfront what things they want to do and they are willing to do in terms of housework when coexisting with somebody else, and the things they don't want to do either if the other person wants to do them, or that this person pays somebody to do it or something like that, because the people with the 40th gate really prefer their aloneness if they cannot feel okay, especially with house chores. So that's a good thing to say. And this week, which is going on, we might feel under the pressure of the family, or under the pressure of or the possibility of the family and the what the family might want from you, or what the tribe might want from you, the socium, the social, the community, what they want from you. Like it can be to clean the snow in front of the building or something like that. But you can be under pressure to do that just because in your head, it's in your head, it's in the air. So beware not to fall for the trap of making a promise just because you feel under the pressure and the possibility for a part becoming a whole. Taking emotionally charged decisions, in a hurry, not knowing the right timing. The throat is also a center of timing. And let's look at the 40th gate. Right now it's in the fourth line, but 3 days ago we started, pardon me, with the first line, recuperation. So this is where the energy of the sun is grounded, the ability to relax and enjoy the fruits of one's labors, the ego's strength to enjoy being alone. And then the second line, resoluteness. So, but only for the first line, the ability to relax and enjoy the fruits of one's labors and being alone and enjoy being alone, the gate of aloneness. Then we have the second gate, the power and authority, its resoluteness, in deliverance to shed forever the qualities which hampered liberation. The power through aloneness to recognize the importance and the potential disruptive effect of others, and to know when to be alone and when not. Then yesterday, humility, the third line, a calculated mode in deliverance to avoid attracting the attention of negative forces. On one hand, the subtlety to enjoy deliverance without having to flaunt it, the capacity of the ego to avoid negative forces, even if it means being alone. Or the other side, the ego arrogance that demands attention and gets it. The capacity of the ego to demand attention. So yesterday in the news, probably there was a lot of attention grabbing things that happened or people which were seeking attention, etc. Today we have the fourth line, organization, the power to transform and the intuitive intellect to select and organize for the purpose of maintaining deliverance. The power of the ego when organized and active to maintain separateness. An uncontrollable zeal, that's the other side, that ignores the quality of support in preference for the quantity, which in the long run may destabilize deliverance. The empowering of the ego through the capacity to organize others. And people wanting to organize you today might be a power trip of their ego. Tomorrow we have the fifth line, rigidity, the recognition that to achieve liberation, all negative forces must be rejected. And we have only the detriment, the tendency in revolution to accept a certain amount of necessary deviation on the assumption that it can be successfully purged later. The weakness of the ego in its loneliness to maintain and not reject negative relationships. So beware of not being able to reject negative relationships. And then we have the day after, the sixth line, decapitation, the necessary destruction of inferior forces in positions of power before liberation can take place. On one side, the authority coupled with the magnanimity to remove from power only those which deserve such drastic treatment, and the power and authority of the ego to eject individuals in legitimate defense of the group, or exemplified by the terror of the French Revolution, as an example, where the idea of who was deserving of punishment was cruelly extended to an entire class. The distortion of the ego through power and authority. Yeah, so this is what is awaiting in the next few days. So be aware, it's all about the tribe, it's all about the communities. We may see communities moving as one. We may see different powers clustering together, making new alliances, new groups, acting as one community. This is what's going on in the air at this moment. And at the same time, we have the 45th and the 21st gate as well activated, which is the channel of mania, design of materialist. So we have the 45th gate activated by Mars, gathering together, the gate of the gatherer, and in detriment, which is in the second line, consensus, gathering together is strengthened by acknowledged common interest, an innate rebellion against conformity, the refusal to accept the material techniques of others. We also had it here, not wanting to accept the somebody else's capacity to organize. And we have also the 21st gate, biting through the gate of the hunter-huntress, the justified and necessary use of power in overcoming deliberate and persistent interference. And we have it in the third gate, powerlessness. So it's either powerlessness or the opposite, power. So where the just are condemned to a futile confrontation with superior forces, total withdrawal, a lack of will for the material path in order to protect the ego. So an innate rebellion against conformity or a total withdrawal. And all of that in the channel of the money channel, the channel of materialism, for all of the power and influence of the tribe over human affairs. It's interesting to know that it only has one direct connection to the throat, only one voice, and that's the voice of the tribe, which says, I have or I don't have. That's 45th gate, the gate of the queen, king. Basically, the tribe wants two things. It wants money and a secure and reliable commitment from everyone to be tribal together and to survive together, to be materialistic together. Materialism is the way of the 2145, and what really satisfies it is putting money to work. This is the channel that has developed the simple business model of a barter or village trade into the complex business models we have today. We're in the cross of the planning, and all these structures which we built were helped indeed by this channel. And usually people with this channel have the education, it's in the 45th gate, and the control in 21st gate to understand and direct financial dealings on a more complex level. The stock market, banks, speculation, the kinds of business venture that returns dividends on investment over time. And that's why it's the money line. It's also the Wa alpha. So for those kinds of money-making enterprises, to succeed requires the support of many, and it requires that each person involved be knowledgeable and trustworthy. So we have two keys of the tribe: loyalty and keeping their part of the deal, and knowledge, which is supported by the here we have it in the defense circuit, the take the nourishment, the taking care of values and principles, actually not principles, values, in order to succeed on the material plane. But basically here we have the tribal qualities, which where no matter how complex the structure is, at its core, it's the same basic two things: money and the community that uses the money. So the theme of education will be in the air, because this channel wants to take care, to educate the others, in order for the tribe to succeed and to manifest itself with its needs and its support, and to materialize the success of the tribe into the reality, into the outside world, to come through a metamorphosis, manifestation, to materialize its success on the material plane. So we have a lot of tribal energy. Actually, it's both tribal channels in the air. Pardon me. And a lot of deals will be going on, and a lot of trading and financial operations. So be aware of schemes and financial frauds, maybe even, and especially in the network, in friendships, in families, in the community, and there will be a lot of projection going on. We have the North Node, or let's start with the South Node in the 28 gate, fifth line treachery, the abuse of trust, the manipulation of the collective that, while putting one fraction against the other, does not directly support or reject either. The intuitive capacity of the game player to provoke struggle amongst others. And the other side, the breaking of alliances with trusted forces to align with more powerful forces and its attendant destabilization of the whole. The intuitive recognition in times of struggle to know when alliances must be broken and its destabilizing effect on others. And have the idea that this is the game player risking, prone to risk, and it's an open spleen, so it can be exaggerated risk taking, and the nodes are here for several months. They're going to be until June, I think it was, or no, maybe April. Let me see. No, indeed June. Yeah, so they will change in June. Yep, 23rd of June. So until then, we can be seeing quite some let's say changing of forces and regrouping and stuff like that going on. Maybe we don't even know about those stuff, and we will find out. Or maybe we're hearing of different world forces grouping together. And this week will be probably the heightened the moment of the most deals done and alliances done, also because of the Sun Earth opposition. Then we have the 27th gate, nourishment, the gate of caring. In the fifth line, the executor, the ability to distribute effectively the resources of others. Either the gifted and principled agent of distribution of the good sense and ability to find one, the power and strength to care for the resources of others, or a restrictive nature that hampers distribution of the seeking of advice and assistance. Weakness and the risk of loss of power restrict caring. So either a lot of caring or restricted caring going on in the notes. And as I said, it goes on for several months. So those two themes of risk-taking and not knowing when to stop caring and nourishing open sacral, or on the other hand, the power and strength to do care of others and to do distribute effectively the resources of others, or the weakness and the risk of loss of power of restricting caring. in the world, all of this is talking about, at this moment, this week, it's about the materialistic ways in the tribe, in our communities, alliances being broken or being made, most probably. And it is the peak of this several months of abuse of trust and ability to distribute effectively. A future direction environment and past direction environment are right now also with a lot of expectations and a lot of projections, which might turn out to be just big dreaming, which has no sustainability in it and is just big talking. And that there is not enough real power behind that, real support behind that, but just empty risk-taking and empty promises of nourishment, and or the desire just to have the, it's not desire, it's the support and the stickiness of the support, and on the other side the individual spirit for fighting and preponderance of the great at the end. And all of this is garnished with the moon right now in the fifth line as well, enthusiasm in the gate of skills, the Grinch, the refusal to share in enthusiasm. That's the driving force, where the mind is focusing. The refusal to share in enthusiasm. Why should I be happy when, etc., etc.? A lack of confidence in the value of encouraging others. This is a funny gate, in line specifically, but it will be very soon gone. Actually, just in a few hours, it will get into the 35th gate, which will activate the 35-36, the channel of transitoriness. So more crisis and progress possibility coming. Yeah. Then we have Mercury, what we want to communicate and think about. Revolution, the gate of principles in the sixth line, attraction, the power of revolution in action to expand its support. An innate impressionability that transforms the fence-sitter into the committed. The sensitivity and potential to embrace and transform others. And on the other side, stubborn and often fatal rejectionism, oversensitivity that leads to rejection of principles and others as a rule. So all of this saying here, I have the skill, I have the, or I don't have, I have or I don't have the money for it, the material possibility for it. But then we see also all of these activations in the emotional system. So guys, if you're emotionally open, you are charged and prone to to be spontaneous and be chaotic. So beware of that. Then we have Venus in the 17th gate, gate of opinion, in an open ajna, sixth line bodhisattva, perfected following one with and the same as perfected leading. The great nurturer, so those are the values in Venus and relating. So the nature of this position is always positive, the possibility in understanding the nature of interdependency to express opinions of value to others. And the other side, the tendency on the perfected path that it is a straight line that ends rather than a circle. Where understanding is achieved, the possibility of having the opinion that there is nothing else to learn. Nothing is interesting, nothing more to learn, or the other side, a great nurturer with its opinion. But usually having lots of opinions doesn't make them necessarily the truth. It's just an opinion. Then we have the 45th gate. We already discussed Mars, the So it's also an explosive energy, and Jupiter, the law and protection inviting through. The powerlessness we already discussed. But what we can add as a nuance here is indeed the energy dynamics, the immature energy. So it will be this learning, and this king, queenness is about, it can be indeed quite materialist and powerlessness, not being able to take power by learning or whatever. And here the law and protection, so it is what the so here we have the powerlessness, here the consensus, and here it can be in the to feel powerless, especially if you cannot be in control. Then Saturn, the restriction and discipline and limitation, is in the 30th gate, 5th line. The recognition and dedication to transitory goals, the strength derived from knowledge and experience that 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward. Each new feeling brings back an old feeling before progress can take place. So it needs patience, and that's how we're restricted with the fates. The fates decide. At the end, it's not us. Or the other side, we have the anger engendered by the irony, frustration with its limitations, and a desire to eliminate the entire process. And a frustration and anger with the old feelings brought into the emotional awareness with each new experience. One at a time, the clinging fire, the gate of feelings, part of the stream of feelings, is part of the experiential way. So one thing at a time, going through it, and only when it's finished, you can see what it was for. But that's how we're being limited, being thrown in the hands of the fates. And all of this is very emotionally charged energy. So that's the biggest here. We can say underwater stone, or trick which can get us where the program can get us. By the way, the program is not some evil thing which is waiting for us to do something bad to us. It is actually absolutely indifferent towards us. It's just there. It needs life to sustain itself, and life it gets with the genetic imperative, so it needs nothing else. It's not this a bad aim against you, but yes, you can be a puppet on strings if you follow that mechanism blindly without following your strategy and authority, which is your inner truth. And still we have in the 2nd gate, 3rd line, Uranus, the chaos, unusualness, innovation. In the 2nd gate, the receptive, the gate, the direction of the self. So somehow in all of this, there is some given higher self direction. In the 3rd line, patience, the teacher that never stops being a student. A lot to learn, guys. And that's for quite some time being there. So for the revolutionary, patience is a vice, higher knowing that cannot wait and demands expression and can kick the door before it's time to open. Then we have the 36th gate, 2nd line, support, the darkening of the light, the gate of crisis. It will be there till year 2025. Neptune, so we don't know what's going on. It's under a veil. 2nd line, support, assistance to others in times of decline. So all of this crisis and friendship and alliances and materialism, ruled by the fates, rejectionism, and at the end, darkening of the light under a veil. Assistance to others in times of decline. The application of imagination to schemes which benefits others. Feelings that can benefit others in times of crisis. Part of the stream of feelings. A lot of feelings going on, and it's not something we can know before it's over, apparently, because Neptune is diluting things like the water, doesn't give us a really clear picture. And Pluto is in the 60th gate. That's truth, transformation, and psychology, bringing the new form after 2027. But in 2025, it gets into the 41st gate. And until then, it's in the 60th gate right now in the 4th line, resourcefulness. So we have the limitations, the gate of acceptance. This is what is transforming us, bringing us truth. The reason and intelligent maximization of potential within limitations. The maximization of potential within limitation. So we will learn how to deal with limitations. And the other side, a tendency in times of limitation to seek the inner meaning of the restriction rather than using its gifts to find the harmonic application within the limitation. So thinking, oh, I'm punished. Why am I punished here? No, just, there are gifts in finding harmonic application within the limitation. The first step of transcending the limitation is actually accepting the limitation, because the former leads to withdrawal and the latter leads to transcendence. The energy to know rather than accept limitation at the expense of possible mutation leading to depression. Limitations will be in our life. Nothing to do for the next 2 years, 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2022 it was. So it's a lot of time we have in this 60th gate, a lot to learn how to deal with limits, being limited, being given rules or any circumstances and people and stuff which limits us in ways, and finding way around it, part of the cross of limitation. So this is the transit field of the day and of the week specifically. Of course, some slow moving planets give us a more depth into the background frequency, which will last longer, especially those last 4 planets here, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, Jupiter. But we also have interesting configuration here with the gates of opinions, also for quite some time in Venus. Then we have Martian energy in the King Queen energy, biting through, being the law and protection, wanting to communicate rejection and time to rise up and to revolutionize some old ways, maybe, or not, or keep sitting on the fence and doing nothing about it. Having the skills, but not knowing, and why should you be happy? Lack of confidence in the value of encouraging others. All of this happening in the game player and nourishment, friendship, aloneness and friendship, and the family, and all of this energy is in the air. Maybe there is something for us to learn. Maybe there is something which will expand our consciousness, will expand our understanding. It's a spiral, we move on. But not everything is for us. Not every step for us, every step forward is for us, every step forward. It can be 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, depending on where we are in our own process. And that's something that only strategy and authority can guide us, that is correct specifically for our vehicle, for our body, for our form, for our reflected consciousness. This is the weather. We don't have to live the weather. We can just take our umbrella and swing away. Just wait for the weather to change, and this shall move on. This will change. And there can be something for us too. Knowing that is only information. Living that is what matters. Strategy and authority is your tool for real life. The transits are just a food for the brain, for the mind, not for the brain, for the mind. It can be a powerful tool. Still, it's only information. The power is in the body and in how you play out your cards. And you have everything to have the great hand and be the jack of all aces. Or I don't know how the expression is, but or be the jack or be the ace. Whatever works for you, my fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey. And farewell on your way. I'll be happy to share more. So like and subscribe. And see you soon. Bye for now.